The buckle bomb is no longer in WWE. Recently added to the banned move list, it seems the last time it'll ever be featured in a match is between Nia Jax and Kairi Sane. As we know, that didn't go so well, which is a reason it's gone the way of the pile driver. In many ways, it's a wonder why it took so long to vanish. It was the maneuver that ended Sting's career after all, and there are plenty of other stories along the way. It also ties into another discussion, which is what other moves ended up on the last time list. They don't always go away because they get banned, but given we're so interested in who took a move first, it's only fair we balance this out the other way, or so I think anyway. I'm Simon from What Culture, please hit that subscribe button. This is 10 wrestlers who were the last person to take iconic moves. Number 10, Ric Flair and Bret Hart's Sharpshooter. If you thought the last time we saw this was WrestleMania 26 when Bret Hart took on Vince McMahon, you would be incorrect. Kinda good in the way. That match is just so upsetting, I never want to think about it again. It just didn't work, it was madness. But when we fast forward to Payback 2016 when Charlotte Flair was taking on another Hart in the form of Natalya, the Hitman did indeed get involved. It was part of a very nice scene where Natty and Bret locked in joint sharpshooters to the Queen and Rick, who was also at ringside. The only thing that sucked here is that almost 20 years after the fact, WWE felt the need to do yet another callback to the Montreal Screwjob, even though no one ever wanted to see it again. And you know the deal too. Charlotte applies her own submission, the ref goes to call for the bell. Bret wasn't gonna let that happen though. Honestly, just let it die. It was the final time Hart would do this move though, and there's some sort of poetic irony that it was on a guy who Bret had fallen out with a lot over the years. True professionals, I suppose. Number 9, Dean Ambrose and Dusty Rhodes' bionic elbow. Given that it was kinda Cody Rhodes that gave Jon Moxley a new lease of life over in AEW, this story is all the warmer. Happening all the way back at Battleground 2013, which feels like a lifetime ago at this point, Cody and Dustin took on the Shield, needing a win to be reinstated in WWE. That old chestnut. There was another job on the line though, and that was in the form of Dusty Rhodes. If his boys couldn't win here, he'd be fired as the NXT trainer, and while that makes absolutely no sense, it did add extra impetus to proceedings. It also meant he'd be involved in this feud somehow, and that was exactly the case. After Ambrose had run his mouth, Dustin gave him the iconic bionic elbow. The American Dream would sadly pass away in 2015, but that makes this more lovely in many ways. His last use of the move was to help his sons. There are worse ways to go out. Number 8, Baron Corbin and The Rock's People's Elbow. While The Rock will return to WWE once more in the future and drop his elbow on someone, the last time he did it was when SmackDown debuted on Fox in October 2019. The Great One strolled to the ring with Baron Corbin and an onlooking Becky Lynch, twonked the King right in the face before giving him the most electrifying move in all of sports entertainment. I suppose the big question is, will we ever see it in another official match setting? Dwayne Johnson has said previously he's quietly retired from in-ring competition, but we know what that means in wrestling. Nothing. When you factor in he's approaching 50 years old, however, I doubt we have many left. Either way, who else but Big Boy Baron was going to be the guy in this role? That seems to be WWE's go-to at the moment, and it brings joy and sadness to fans in equal measure. As for The Rock, well, if he needs some extra promotion for a movie, you can bet your ass of an appearance. That's just how it goes. Number 7, The Big Show and Hulk Hogan's leg drop. A move so simple in execution and yet responsible for ruining Hulk Hogan's back and requiring a crazy amount of surgeries, I can confirm that the Hulkster didn't drop the leg in his last televised match, which was against Sting at TNA's Bound for Glory in 2011. Even during a tour in 2009, Hulk knew better than to do this because of the pain he was now in. It just wasn't worth it. The truth is, even though he officially hung up the bandana in 2012, you gotta go all the way back to 2007 for the last time Hogan dropped a leg. It was the end of a clash between the Immortal One and the Big Show in a Memphis Wrestling PMG Clash of Legends card. And you didn't see that coming, did ya? It also allowed Hulk to get his win back from Halloween Havoc 1995, and we all know how much that kind of thing means to him. Maybe this is why he knew he had to bring everything he had, otherwise he wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Number 6, Kane and Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music. We pretend this doesn't exist now, and that's alright. I personally have no problem with the fact Shawn Michaels returned for a one-off match in Saudi Arabia in 2018, where he teamed with Triple H to take on the Brothers of Destruction. Heartbreak Kid should do whatever he wants to do. I think he's earned that right. That doesn't mean this was good, and no, it wasn't. I think all involved have admitted that, and there was a real worry when HBK hit Sweet chin music on The Undertaker and hit him basically in the stomach, that this may be how the move went out. Thankfully, the big red machine was there to calm this down. Kane took right on the button before the game finished him off with a pedigree, and I don't think in a match capacity we will ever see this again. Shawn seems to have realised during this it's not worth it, but much like the Rock and his elbow, it will be back to help along a narrative at some stage. That's just how wrestling works. Number 5, Paul Heyman and Ric Flair's Figure 4. Given how many people were subjected to Ric Flair's Figure 4 over the years, it seems bizarre that the last time we saw it was on someone who is distinctively not a wrestler. He's not even a manager, he's a damn advocate. Going down during the 2012 Slammy Awards, and what a blast from a past that is, the Nature Boy was on hand to give a prize to John Cena for being the Superstar of the Year. Cena, being the goody two-shoes kiss-ass he is, decided to hand it back to Flair, and then they hugged for 67 hours. One man who didn't appreciate this was the current WWE Champion CM Punk. He had held this title for almost 400 days, so to be ignored in this category was a joke. Furthermore, despite the fact he was on crutches at the time, he knew he could still beat the now washed up Rick. Naturally, Flair didn't like this, so he poked Punk in the eye before grabbing Heyman, who was in CM's corner at the time, and applying his most iconic move. And that was that. Aside from a tease in 2013 when he oddly gifted the move to The Miz, the dirtiest player in the game has never gone back to it, leaving it to his daughter and her unique variation. And don't expect to see this anytime soon either. WWE don't even want people to breathe on Flair these days given his health issues. I think it's gone for good. Number 4, Daryl St. Holmes and CM Punk's GTS. Will we ever see CM Punk back in a wrestling ring? Not a day goes by that someone doesn't ask that question, and now I'm part of the problem, because I've just done it too. And the answer, of course, is who knows? Anything could happen. Some hope does shine through the window when you remember Punk is only 41. For example, Bret Hart left the WWE under his own cloud at the age of 40, so there's still plenty of time if parties are willing. And this is doubly true because nobody thought we'd see the Hitman under Vince McMahon's watch again, but as we've already discussed, we were wrong. For now though, amazingly, the last person to take his GTS was Wisconsin indie wrestler Daryl St. Holmes. Getting smashed in the jaw at a local show by a CM Punk dressed up as a skeleton, it sent shockwaves through the grappling community even though it's never been confirmed. What's important though is that it's never been denied either. And also, look at how this dude walks. Come on now. Number 3, Rick Steiner and the Macho Man's Flying Elbow. At TNA Turning Point 2004, Randy Savage had his last match. A 6-man tag alongside Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles, these heroes were taking on Scott Steiner, Kevin Nash and Jeff Jarrett. How bizarre is that through a 2020 lens? If anyone remembers this clash, however, you will know we didn't see the Macho Man hit his signature top rope elbow drop because he was just too banged up at the time. Even walking around looked difficult for Savage here, and it's a stark reminder what a lifetime of wrestling does to you. Kicks your ass. So where do we go next? Well, it's all the way back to the year 2000. Happening on New Japan's 4th of January show, Randy was taking on Rick Steiner, who did indeed succumb to one of the most marvelous elbow drops in the history of the industry. Even on this night, he still flew through the air like a swan, and the only sad part was how Rick sold it. All I'll say is, I don't think he was happy about losing. Number 2, RJ City and Mick Foley's Mandible Claw. It seems like Mick Foley is done with it and has gifted it to Bray Wyatt, who now loves doing it as The Fiend. Amazingly, when the former Mankind last pulled this out was not in 2017 when he shoved a sock down the throat of Triple H. Having been ordered to fire somebody by Stephanie McMahon, Foley instead decided to attack her husband, because this is wrestling and that's what we do. He got fired and that was that. We have seen him back in WWE a couple of times since then, but this move has not come with it. Throughout, Mick has also been doing the odd indie appearance, which is why in 2018 at Greektown Wrestling, RJ City crossed the hardcore legend and suffered this fate. I mean, that damn sock needs to go back in the underwear drawer. Number 1, Byron Saxton and Steve Austin's Stone Cold Stunner. And how weird is that? After Stone Cold stunned Vince McMahon at Raw's 25th anniversary, it felt like the right way to see out that move. Those two had changed the WWE from when Austin first hit the boss with it at Madison Square Garden, and now years later he was doing it again. But no. Realizing that Raw was falling on March the 16th, so 3/16 day, Stone Cold was brought back in with one glaring problem. There was no fans present. Struck down by the global pandemic we all know about, it left WWE scrambling for something, and they found it in none other than Byron Saxton. The seed was planted when for no reason Byron decided to score Steve's jokes. I don't know, you tell me. They weren't great ratings though, so of course Austin invited Saxton to the ring, drank some beers with him before stunning him out of his shoes. I mean, it was mildly amusing, but it was also nuts. Know of any other wrestlers who were the last person to take iconic moves? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Then head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow What Culture on Twitter, WhatCultureWWE, and watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture, and I will talk to you again soon.